From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunabku Evam Maya Imaho. Ayum Hunabku Evam Maya Imaho. Ayum Hunabku Evam Maya Imaho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature. Welcome to Soul Purpose Healing. I'm Viata, your host. And tonight it's all about transforming our relationships, spiritual partnerships, and what is your reality? Fifth dimension, third dimension, no dimension? Let's talk about it and let's be mindful tonight. Open. They say the mind is like a parachute. If you don't open it, you can't fly. Nice and toasty in my house right now. That's why I'm half dressed basically, because I've got a heater going. It's going to go down into, I think, the 30s tonight in Florida. So welcome. Come on in. It's nice and warm. My heart's warm. Everything's ready for this transmission from the Most High. I did not know what in the world we were going to talk about tonight until a light bulb went off. And Iyanla Vanzant is back in motion, I would say, back in the news, back in popularity. She has a new book called Spiritual Hygiene. Whoa, blew my mind. I saw an interview with her and Oprah. My sister announced that she was going to start a whole new show again on OWN platform. I have always loved and appreciated Iyanla Vanzant. So we're going to start our show off tonight with Iyanla because she has so much wisdom, so much experience, so much trauma. She's one of those phenomenal women that I like to talk about on Wednesday who has survived and now is thriving like nothing you could ever imagine. So she's been on quite a few shows talking about her book, Spiritual Hygiene. And I want to start with her because, as many of you know, my 5-year relationship with a man who I had great respect for, much love and appreciation for, transitioned last year on my maternal grandmother's birthday. So that event itself was just a synchronistic moment to alert me to all the lessons that I learned with this man for 5 years. And one of the lessons that is I will forever share with my audience, with my family, they all know, is that this man early in life experienced abandonment from his parents, rejection, and then even as a young boy, the people who adopted him abused him verbally, physically, and there was probably some sexual abuse because he lived in a brothel with his aunt and uncle who were running a brothel in the place. And as he grew older, he learned how to become a master herbalist to overcome the constipation that he endured all most of his life. He told me he was constipated. He had trouble moving things out because of what I now know was the pain and the agony that he had experienced as a youth that wouldn't allow him to relax in his physical body. So at 78 years old, he transitioned and is in much peace. But a year before that transition, I was at the VA hospital with him, and they explained to him everything that was breaking down his kidneys. His bladder was in trouble. His colon was always constipated. And yet he refused any invasive treatment. He continued to trust in his herbal wisdom and knowledge. I can get everything I need out here to fix what's going on in here. So that went on for over from that VA visit a year ago before his death to for the following year. I hardly saw much of him because he was in so much pain, so much suffering, and he didn't want me to have to go through all that suffering and pain with him. So he was pretty much being transformed. Really, his soul was being transformed on his own. But the main point I want to bring home to you is that he looked outside of himself for the most part to fix what was going on the inside. So now we have Iyanla Vanzant is back with the most relevant teaching of spiritual hygiene, because it's all about going within. So I want to start first with an introduction for some of you who may not know who Iyanla Vanzant is. She's so relevant to come in at this time, especially in my life after having witnessed all that suffering and pain from someone who was unable to open up their mind and let the parachute drop to explore new things, new ways of healing and all that. He couldn't do it for various reasons. And so Iyanla is here now on the show and on our faces, really, to help us go inward with spiritual hygiene. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. The need to transform our relationships, just as she did with her two children that transitioned over the past few years. She has a remarkable perspective on what she went through as a mother to have to bury two children, not one, but two children. And that I see is a major, major struggle for mothers when their children transition. They are unable to move into their full purpose without a lot of suffering before they realize that they have a bigger mission, and that all the attitudes of people who tell you, your children die, well, you're such a great teacher, how come you couldn't save them? Iyanla puts it all in perspective, and that's where we're going to start tonight. And then we're going to go into a false reality that many of us grew up with, that has confused, delayed our transition to fifth dimension. And so many of us are stuck in this suffering and pain because of the false reality that we grew up with. So let me just bring on Iyanla to start, because I just love this woman. She is just so relevant now And I don't know, let me start here. Let's see. Yeah. Uh, let's see. 3 years ago, I'll start 2 years ago. This was her message as she was being interviewed on a talk show. And it's so important for us to hear her heart, her voice, her wisdom more than anything. So here we go.
You, so proud of you, so excited. I watch you, and you look good. How's the baby? Look at her, she's weeping.
Now, I'm about to start crying. The baby is waiting for you to come fix his life. Because at 4, he is in need of a repair.
Yeah, he needs repair.
He needs a repair job, maintenance job.
I know.
I mean, looking at, first of all, every time you go on social media, you have a meme for every feeling in the world.
I know, right?
And I never know what we're going to get from you, right? So you walk out the door now, this smile, this beautiful outfit, this youth. I mean, you never disappoint, but I know that when you agreed to come on the show, part of the conversation would include a hard truth.
Yeah.
That we lose people we love.
Yeah.
That they transition.
Yeah.
And you talked about on your social and shared with the world in July that you lost Nisa, your daughter, your
My baby girl.
Your baby.
Yeah.
48 years old.
Yeah.
When you walk out the door just now to sit down, we're talking about the podcast, but we're talking about her. Do you consult with the universe? How do you shore yourself up?
Well, after 46 years of doing this work, game on.
Yeah.
Game on. You gotta, people want to read books and they want to meditate and rub crystals on their eyelashes and all of that. But then when the problem hits, that's when it's game on.
But why am I over here crying?
Because we love each other. We love each other. We've loved each other for a long time. And that's a beautiful thing that women of color can love each other, support each other. And we don't have to be in each other's face. Yeah. But there's never been a time that I text you that you didn't respond. Never been a time that you text me, I didn't respond. And that's what relationships are about. It's not about being in your face. And that's why I do the R Spot, to give people the skills and the tools that they need to have this kind of connection, there's no place that you can go and call me and I don't show up.
Right.
Or you need something and my friend, Michelle Lopez, my stylist, has a project going on called Refer Her, where you refer another sister woman. You refer somebody, their business, their health, where we just love. So I pray for you all the time. And so that keeps our connection. I pray for you. I pray for Jennifer. I don't have to compete with you. I want you to grow because I'm not my sister's keeper. I am my sister.
Yes.
So your rise is my rise.
You talked about the podcast in August. You talked about your relationship with Nisa.
Yeah.
And how you were able to reconcile before she passed away. What is it like, when you're the teacher, right? And now the teacher becomes a student of life, the student of grief.
Well, the deceptive intelligence of the ego always wants you to think that you're not enough, not good enough, not worthy. And for me, who spends all of my life teaching other people, helping other people, fixing other people, when something happens in my life, the first thing the ego says to me is you're a fake, you're a fraud. You can save other people, but you can't save your child. And so, but God in her infinite wisdom is so wonderful. When I lost Nisa, I knew how to do it because I had already buried Jamia. See, when I buried Jamia, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to be a woman burying a child. But so when I lost Nisa, it's been 115 days. When I lost Nisa, I knew how to do it. That's grace. I knew how much to do. I knew who to call. I knew not to try to do everything by myself. And, I think one of the most sacred relationships on the planet is the relationship between the mother and the daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, mother and son, that's a whole nother outer worldly thing, but sacredness, because all children bring to life the subconscious issues of the parent. That child lives in your body. That child knows you from the inside out. That child has heard your voice, your secret thoughts. But when you give birth to a daughter, she's bringing to life those things that you hold inside that you may not even know that are there. And she's going to show them to you in how she shows up in the world.
Wow.
So Nisa showed me who I was in many ways that I didn't
even. I want to tell you, you talked about this in 2009 when you were talking about the loss of Jemima. You said, I survived that, survived my daughter's death, which, you know, I think about every day that I open my eyes as a mother. It is unspeakable to have to bury your child, and I survived that.
Yeah. I survived that, and I'll survive this. You know, there's a saying in the Caribbean, the bigger the monkey, the bigger the stick they beat him with. Yeah, uno, you know? So I have a big life. I have a big place in the world. I have a big assignment. So
what is the assignment?
To facilitate the evolution of human consciousness, one mind, one heart, one life, one spirit at a time. That is my assignment. You know, and I do it big in the world, but really my heart is with one person at a time. One mind, one heart, one life. Because, you know, scriptures say they leave the 99 to save the one. So I'm going for the one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So I have a big assignment in the world. And so darkness wants to take me down.
Okay, did we hear her assignment? That is so huge to me, that the way she got over the grief and the sorrow of burying a child was she was consciously reminded of it. I say she was minded because when you say grace kicks in, grace keeps telling you like, hey, you're bigger than you think. Grace is, I love you. Grace is, you are enough. I am enough. Many of us need to be tapping in, I am enough. I am enough, because your ego will say, oh, you ain't nothing. You think you all that, but your own daughter you had to bury your own daughter. That's the ego, she says. But her reality kicked in. The reality kicked in that she has an assignment that, what did she say? To facilitate the evolution of human consciousness. Woohoo! I'm with you on that one, Iyanla. I'm with you on that one. And that's where many of us who are here tonight, I believe, are in our assignment. If you're not watching the Bears play football or whatever is going on, that our mission is bigger than the transition of a child we birth into this earth. Like she's going to tell you, it's not easy, but it's only when you realize how big your mission, your assignment is, when you fully incorporate, you're mindful of, my assignment is bigger than me staying in sorrow and sickness and pain. It's bigger than this. So it's like you have to, as she said, get yourself together and start. You have to work on healing, and that's what her spiritual hygiene is all about. So let me go to another. That interview was about, I think, 2 years ago, but this next interview is actually, I think, a few months old. So we're gonna just bring up to date on where she is now. Same interviewer, and her new book, Spiritual Hygiene, how it, I think it can take us to a place of strength, respect, self-love, self-healing, if we are mindful and really take what her message is in this book.
Of your grandson.
Great
grandson.
Great grandson.
Having a young person in the house. Oh, look at the brow. I saw the eyebrow. It brings new energy.
Oh, is that what it is?
How do you describe? Because somebody said to me the other day, you're 55 with a 6-year-old. I said, I am, but I see life in a different way than I would have at 27 and 37. He's brought this new energy.
Well, I'm 73 with an 8-year-old. Okay. And it does. You know, it's such a blessing. He has youth me.
Right, that's the word I
He
was looking
really
for.
has youth
You
in
always
him.
have the phrase that fits the moment.
Well,
He's
that's
youth.
why you have me as your guest.
He's youth. You.
He has youth me. Yeah, I mean, I'm back at multiplying, 2 times 2. I'm back at writing on lines. I'm back at doing this stuff.
The grass and the plane and all that when you're writing.
Oh my God. If I hear the wheels on the bus go round and round, I'm just gonna have to pluck my eyeball out.
Well, you know what? It's so interesting about your life. I think many things have made you iconic throughout the world, but it seems as if things that are happening in your life so relate to everything happening in the universe.
Do you know how many grandmothers are raising grandchildren?
Yeah.
How many grandmothers have raised grandchildren? It's happening more and more. And so if I can move grandmas out of it's a problem, it's a burden, into its youthing and a new opportunity and a divine possibility to create a whole new generation, then come on, grannies, let's get
Let's
this.
go. Let's go. I love that. Let's get to the book. I gotta tell you, the minute I opened the book and I read the opening prayer, I'm being so honest with you all right now. I burst into tears. And I said, I need to unpack why this hit me in the way that it did. The book opens with, today I call forth the sacred flame of courage, not the absence of fear, but the holy willingness to move forward anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening in my body. It just reacted with tears.
Yeah. Good.
Is that good? Is
well,
it
that
good?
means spiritual hygiene. Tears clear, tears cleanse. So there may have been something stuck in there that needed to come forward. And so many of us are stuck since COVID, with all of the changes that are going on in the world. Many of us are at, that's where we are.
We're frozen. Right. And that frozen fear keeps us in this state of where it just feels sticky.
Yeah, we're stuck.
Yeah.
Some of us are congested.
And I have to pause there because my partner could not cry. My love partner who just transitioned, he told me he wanted to cry, but he couldn't. And as Iyanla just said, that's spiritual hygiene. If you can cry, you're clearing out what's stuck there. And he had so much stuck that his bladder wasn't working, his prostate wasn't working, his colon wasn't working. And that's why tonight, hopefully, we can help you get unstuck from the internal subconscious wounds that are keeping you stuck and frozen and in pain, that we can become the magnificent I am enough souls on this planet. Because part of transforming our relationships is realizing your daughter, your son, whoever left your life was on a soul journey with you. And we become so attached to the mommy, daddy, mommy, son relationship that when they leave, we get stuck. Like she said, we're frozen. But we want to help you tonight transition into your soul purpose, your magnificent soul purpose. As she said, even me as a grandmother, I have to be healthy if I'm going to help raise this next generation, because the parents of this next generation are clueless right now. At this moment, in my observation, many of the millennials who are raising young children, clueless, unconscious. So it's up to us grannies, number one, to be healthy and do our spiritual hygiene. Let's continue with Iyanla's wisdom.
Some of us are constipated.
Yes.
Some of us are contaminated.
Yes.
And that's what spiritual hygiene is.
Clean it up.
You really compare it to, you wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth, you clean your body. Your spirit needs that cleansing. You write in the book, the daily sacred devotion of clearing your inner space. It is the loving commitment to honoring your thoughts, emotions, energy, and soul with the same reverence you give to your sacred belongings.
Yes, you're right. People will, your shoes, the dress, the fur, the earrings, the whatever, and leave their soul congested, constipated, or contaminated. And spiritual hygiene, the reason I think is so important right now is because everything is changing and it's changing so quick.
So you're saying the state of life today is so different, it requires a different spiritual hygiene.
It requires spiritual hygiene, period.
Okay.
Because if you think your intellect, your education, your bank account is going to get you through the changes that are happening, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You are in trouble. So we've got to go in. And spiritual hygiene is about cleaning up your inner landscape so that your outer experience will be more in alignment with who you are and who you desire.
What was happening for you and with you, because each of your books is a calling, right?
Yeah.
You speak to us, as I said before, in the moment you were in. The last time we saw each other anyway in person was after Nisa passed away.
Yeah.
And this is your first full-length book you've written in 9 years.
Yeah.
Take me to the space you were in when you started creating this.
Well, Nisa's death. And when I, as a mom, losing my second child, looking back, the book is really, the whole first part is about how my poor spiritual hygiene influenced her.
And you talk about when you were pregnant with her, that a lot of what you were going through, we feed these things unintentionally.
Well, you see, spiritual hygiene is about what's going on the inside, because that is really the root of what you experience out here. What was going on inside of me when I was carrying Nisa, she brought to life in her own physical experience. Because children bring to life the subconscious issues of the parents.
Wow.
So she brought forth my guilt, my fear, my shame, my unworthiness, my not feeling wanted, not feeling needed, all of that, she marinated in it.
And you talk about how she, like so many other people, then wear that trauma as a badge of honor.
Oh, yes.
Because people talk a lot about, and rightfully so, you should be able to discuss the trauma that you've experienced, but now you are seeing people wear it as a badge of honor, not one they want to release.
Right. I can't do this because I had trauma as a child. I can't, we're all hurting in some way, and I do not at all minimize it. But the traumas that we think about are really most often not the ones that affect us. What about the trauma of neglect? I don't hear people talk about that. They'll talk about sexual abuse, physical abuse, the trauma of poverty, the trauma of abandonment, the trauma.
Now, she just mentioned 2 traumas, neglect, abandonment, that my partner experienced, which is why it was so difficult for him to practice spiritual hygiene. Those traumas are devastating to a young child, and they become the teacher. I became the student. When someone comes into your life who is demonstrating suffering and pain, and they can't come out of that, they become the teacher, as she so greatly describes.
Of not being seen, not being heard, and all of those unexpressed emotions. You got to get them out, because they'll get you excited about how bad things are, that you forget of the possibility of what could be good.
More with Iyanla Vanzant, her new book, Spiritual Hygiene. We're going to talk about how we can put this into effect. Key questions Iyanla believes we should all be asking ourselves. We're back in the book.
All right. So, spiritual hygiene. I think 2026 is the theme. Because as I experienced for 5 years with one soul who became a great teacher of no spiritual hygiene, hardly, and the suffering and pain that they endured, that was my lesson to help to share with you why it's so important. It's also about emotional awareness. Spiritual hygiene can be translated to mean emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, which is what I teach in other areas. And so tonight we want to really dig deep into your hygiene, because one thing she mentioned, that this world that we live in is changing so fast, and the things that are coming to us are so deep, wide, and complicated, I would say. For instance, when whoever thought of AI, artificial intelligence, I don't think they really thought this whole thing through. And yet many of humans are jumping on the AI bandwagon and using it fully. But I don't think we realize the consequences of this new technology. For instance, data centers and something called CERN, CERN, which is Physics Research Center that men are doing. These data centers that facilitate the use of AI all over the planet are harming people's neighborhoods and health. These data centers that have to be constructed and placed in different locations require a lot of water to maintain the data center. If you saw the movie with Tom Cruise recently, that was a lot about the data centers out of control, basically. And so if you saw that movie, that was kind of the monster that we've created. And yet Tom Cruise had to fly in airplanes and do all kind of tricks to resolve the problem. So that is where we are technology wise. We're in a very serious fork in the road of being ready, being prepared for what's coming on this planet. And AI is moving on steroids right now. And yet we have not considered, as I say, the data center, the energy that is drawing from our earth, from Mother Earth, and the consequences of having all that machinery and activity in a not far from neighborhoods that people are experiencing headaches and can't sleep, and the noise. We didn't think this through. So that's one of the reasons why Iyanla Vanzant is warning us about, or preparing us about, spiritual hygiene is going to help us survive these technical advancements and complications that are upon us. If we're not ready internally, hygiene, spiritually wise, we're going to suffer along with many of the unconscious ones. So tonight we want to dig into the fifth dimension reality and the need for all of us to transform our relationship first with ourselves. Spiritual hygiene, need to go inside, and then we need to transform the relationship we have with our children, our spouses, who might not be able to handle all this technology, data center energy, and they may leave the planet. Happy day, in peace. And then some of us be down here grieving and mourning their departure, and the technology is upon us, coming to attack. And chemtrails alone are causing fear, worry, concern. And here's a little tip I got today on chemtrails. Chemtrails are producing a lot of aluminum in people's blood. A friend sent me a very interesting video on that, how they measured the blood of people when there were no chemtrails, and the blood of people after the chemtrails had been spraying all day. And the amount of aluminum in the blood of people after chemtrails, like tenfold compared to what it was before when there were no chemtrails. Here's the simple solution: consciousness, spiritual hygiene. What you need to do, in fact, I asked AI, what do we do about, and AI gave me the answer. How about that? But it's not something we weren't fully aware of. But let me just real quick, I digress a little, because what Iyanla presented to us is not, if we're not prepared for this new world we're in, then many of us are going to perish. You're not going to be at hand. So here's the answer. When you look up and you realize all that aluminum that's falling, this Meta AI, I asked about, what do we do? I said, what foods or herbs help the body detox from metals like aluminum? Cilantro, chlorella, garlic, turmeric, leafy greens, citrus fruits, selenium, sulfur-rich foods like eggs and broccoli. So that means if you're eating McDonald's cheeseburgers every day and the lines are flying around you, you're going to be perishing. You're going to be sick and suffering real soon, unless your spiritual hygiene is at top notch. Okay. So let me read a comment while we go. Higher Learning says, so happy to hear this sister's back on the scene. Me too. I love Iyanla. With another bestseller, interviewed her back in the day, and she is still teaching us how to release the trauma. Yes, yes, yes. We love Iyanla, and she is so needed right now. And I'm just so happy that she's thriving. She's a phenomenal woman who has suffered trauma, and yet she's thriving now. That's what I do on Wednesday nights. I'm bringing in women like her who have gone through the trenches, and yet they're thriving now. So as I said, if we're not internally prepared, strength wise, hygiene, as Iyanla points out, getting rid of the fear, the pain from losing children, all that, then the suffering will continue. I witnessed it for 5 years in a soul that became my teacher, to show me what happens when you don't work on the internal thoughts, sadness, abandonment. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Tapping, time to be tapping. I am good enough. Let your chakras know, your all your cells in your body know, I am good enough. I'm great. So here's another teaching that talks about where you are, what the reality. Let's go to this, a false reality that we have all grown up with, that it's time to shift. It's a false reality that I caught, and it just helps. It should help us all think that we can't believe anything we were taught. We're all under a spell. And this is an hour-long video. I am not going to play the whole thing, but I want to just remind us of the false reality that we've all been under. And now it's time to do some spiritual hygiene as well as emotional awakening.
We are controlled by the magicians who use marketing and propaganda to manipulate our every thought. From religious leaders to company executives, from politicians to secret military elites, everything we do, say, and even think is scrutinized. There have been many books and films that have attempted to reveal the stupidity of the so-called reality we have created. Often the metaphors are ignored or misunderstood. The truth is simple. Mankind has stepped out of a natural state of existence and walked blindfolded into a world of insanity. We are force-fed information, drugs, poisoned food, and told we should feel lucky. We are told that we live in a free world, while everything we do is controlled. For thousands of years the system has been built, slowly consuming our true nature. Many are happy in their state of delusion, but every now and then...
Just to mention, we live in a free world. Since when did we have to pay for water, start paying for water? Why are we paying for an element that the Creator has given us freely, and we have to pay for it now? That's something to think about. Living in a free world? No. They're trying to monetize everything.
The rogue appears who recognizes the truth for what it really is. Do you wish to stay plugged into the system, or are you ready to set yourself free? Welcome to your world. Welcome to a false reality. There is an awakening to the self and to the wonder of the cosmos that has driven thinking men and women for generations. It is the same awakening that has been the cause of the effect of religion and belief. It is the same awakening that has then caused man to revolt against the same. It is the awakening that has been written, painted, sculptured, symbolized, and placed into music for thousands of years. From mythology to etymology, this opening up of the mind to the potentials of the human spirit has been known about ever since man began to think. And yet, now in the 21st century, mankind has created more chains to bind himself than at any point in human history. From the very beginning, mankind has sought to free his mind from the constraints of a consciousness that seemed to bind him into a world divided. The animals around him followed natural cycles and marched thousands of miles in tune with the breath of the earth, the phases of the moon, and the warmth of the sun. Man pondered this remarkable phenomenon because he was now aware of it, and this awareness gave him the need to explain it. Without explanation, everything seemed strange, and he therefore feared it. What man did not understand, he could not control, and lack of control and understanding meant simply one thing: chaos. The consciousness of the mind needed order to survive, and so he began to form structures within his thoughts for all things. He gave symbols and words to everything that previously didn't need them. The bird didn't care that it was a bird. The fish just were, and the lions were boss in their own domain. The mind of man came along and gave them all names and forced them and himself into ordered boxes. This simply led to constraint, and man had begun to form his own prison. He made names for leaders, gave them wonder and awe. He created gods and deities and worshipped them. He ordered his tribe and family structures. And at the end of all this, he had developed dogma, doctrine, rules, and regulations. In the depth of understanding, our ancestors discovered that they needed to find a way of passing on the knowledge they had uncovered, and they formed tales. Our historical friends were not simple folk, as we are led to believe. They had the same brain size as ourselves, and in fact, in many ways, they were better attuned to the things we now divisively call nature.
And I think I'll stop that there. He mentioned our ancestors who had the same brains as we do, and yet they were attuned to nature more so than we are. And they probably had the same fears, anxieties, complications as we do today, but they dealt with them so differently back then because there weren't all these distractions. Number one, the cell phone and money, 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 money. Everything is being monetized. And so today we are really challenged to go within, to practice that spiritual hygiene. So another video talks about what dimension are you in? Because whether you're still in suffering and pain and struggling in third dimensional reality about relationships that have changed, divorce, death, whatever, that is your assignment sometimes. And so I'm learning to honor everyone's assignment wherever they are. And I'm just here to help you practice spiritual hygiene, emotional intelligence when you're ready. There's a teacher-student relationship interchange that's always going on, I'm finding out. I started out that 5-year relationship with this soul, this man, and I thought I was going to be the teacher, and yet he had such a knowledge of herbs, master herbalist. And until I realized how sick his body was, I decided I was going to be the teacher because he didn't know how to fix his body. But then the role switched again because I realized he was teaching me about spiritual hygiene needs that some of us are unable to do because the wound is so deep that it's going to take a lot of suffering and pain before we come out of that. So in the fifth dimension, there's no suffering or pain. So we can look at the fifth dimension reality and ask ourselves, do we want to transition into that? In my belief, you have to change, transform the relationships you have with other people and yourself to smoothly transition into the fifth dimension. So let's look at what that's like, what that reality is like. If you're in the fifth dimensions, you'll notice there are certain things going on in your life, and we want you to continue to evolve into that reality as this brother describes. Three strange things going on.
But you're perceiving it differently. Dolores Cannon said, this happens when if you've been feeling like you are living in the same world, but you're perceiving it differently. Dolores Cannon said, this happens when you're moving into 5D. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 3 strange signs you're moving into 5D. Let's get into it. First of all, people misunderstand what 5D is. 5D is not you leaving the planet or anything like that. It's a shift in perception. And when the shift happens, it's some signs that most people don't even talk about. Sign number 1, you start noticing patterns instead of events. You stop seeing life as random events and you start seeing patterns. Things start connecting and certain themes keep repeating until you understand them.
Now, one of the biggest lessons for me was having my partner transition on my maternal grandmother's birthday. That was one of those events that has been a pattern in my life over the last, say, 5 or 10 years, where you go, what? Is that a coincidence? That's what he's talking about. When you start noticing numbers showing up in your life and patterns, like people, I was waiting for this man to transition I was just praying for healing. And I knew the healing probably had to come with him transitioning. And I kept thinking, well, when is he going to transition? What day is it going to be on? What numbers are going to come up? And when I realized he transitioned on my maternal grandmother's birthday, wow, okay, I'm the student. I'm still learning the lessons.
So according to Dolores Cannon, she said 5D is awareness base. It's when consciousness shifts from reaction to observing and confusion to understanding. You're just seeing it at a higher vantage point. Sign number 2, you feel less urgency about the future. So you care about the future, but you're not frantic about it all the time. You stop obsessing over timelines, deadlines, and when it will happen. Dolores Cannon said, this happens when souls stop operating on survival consciousness.
And you actually have less anxiety in your life when you observe this type of transition or move in your life. You're not obsessed with the future. Oh, what if this happens? What if that? What if I don't have enough money to bury my children? Don't have enough money to bury me? Oh, what if I lose my job? This is all about, what he's talking about, this second observation, is staying in the present moment. You have more peace, less anxiety, more faith, and grace takes over your life in this realm of thinking.
Because that's what's going on, guys. This whole world is on survival consciousness. People out there in a rat race trying to make ends meet. They're trying to put food on the table. They're trying to keep a roof over their head. They're trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's like they're living in fear because they don't know what's going to happen the next day. All they know, they need to work and make more money and get food and shelter and try to live the best way they can. So it's just a constant survival mode consciousness that's going on,
which will raise your blood pressure, your cortisol levels, and more, and it'll keep you from practicing, guess what? Spiritual hygiene
on this planet with majority of the people. And that's not a good way to live. But when you move into 5D, you trust the movement and you stop forcing it. So the movement that's going on in 5D is all about peace, harmony, connection, oneness, awareness. So you start trusting that movement instead of forcing things to happen. And guys, I just want to say this. As you are moving to 5D, you need to get your body right for this frequency.
This is the spiritual hygiene that Iyanla talks about. This new frequency that is going to happen. Some of us going to be dragged into it. Some of us are already there, at least 1 foot there, and the other one's creeping along. But this is what Iyanla why her book is so synchronistic, so timely, so accurate on what we're dealing with in 2026.
You can't survive in 5D with a 3D body. You have to have a 5D body. So that's why I take Vibe High supplements. These supplements help you get your body on a high vibration so your body can match the 5D frequency. Now, if you want to check out what I use, just scroll down in the description. You're going to see where it says vibehighsupplements.com. Go check it out. Also, guys, I have a store where you can check out some ebooks that will help you understand who you are and get you through this shift that's going on. So check those ebooks down below if you're interested. Now, sign number 3, you're strangely calm during chaos. While others are panicking, you slow down. And you know why they're panicking. Every day is something in this world. Every day is some fear-based drama going on. And it's on TV, it's on social media. So once people witness all this or see all this, they start panicking. Every time they see chaos, they panic. But you that's moving into the 5D, you don't panic anymore. You slow down. Matter of fact, you don't even look at drama or chaos anymore. And when that happens, you don't even attract that in your life anymore.
And this is where I would say I get the most spiritual coaching about observing worldly global events and staying calm. As my spirit guides, my ancestors remind me, stay in your lane, mind your own business. What's your assignment? You're raising the consciousness. You're facilitating the evolution of human consciousness. Stay in your lane. I'm constantly reminded of that because I'm so used to paying attention to global events. And now I just look at those events differently.
Dolores Canning explains that in 5D awareness, the nervous system stops mirroring collective fear.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've been doing.
Yes.
Majority of the people on this planet, they've been mirroring collective fear. As a collective, we're mirroring fear. So that's why this planet has a fear consciousness going on.
And I always suggest that people look at the politics, especially in the United States and globally, as a chess game. And that way, maybe you can have more humor about the rumors of war and the war. If just look at it as a chessboard, and who's making the next move, the grace is with us, and no need to fear.
But people that's moving to 5D, they start mirroring joy, love, and wholeness. Because whatever in the inside that you can see within yourself, you're going to see that on the outside. So when you start picturing oneness, love, compassion, awareness within, you're going to witness it in the outer world.
And that is the result of practicing spiritual hygiene. is that the more we take account of the emotions, the subconscious wounds, and work to heal those things, and we're going to see more peace in the world, more harmony in the world, less anxiety. If you look at what's going on, for instance, in Minnesota, is that not a drama show like we've never seen before? The National Guard, the military might come in. We've got to look at it as just a movie. Now, if you happen to be in Minnesota, you're going to be really challenged to not have any concerns or fears or worries, because people are lost their minds up there. I'm just glad I'm not there, and I'm just watching it from afar. What's going to happen next? Because it's all been planned. I believe all this stuff was planned, the shootings, everything, because the elites, the people, the power that should not be, have an agenda, and it's on the chessboard. It's on the chessboard. So just pass the popcorn with all that activity going on in Minnesota and wherever else it shows up, and just maintain your peace and practice your spiritual hygiene. Now, I have one more person we need to hear from, and that's Ralph Smart of Infinite Waters. I always love to bring in his wisdom and perspective on topics like this, where he's talking about the awakening. What happens? Nobody told him what would happen after the awakening. So we want to be prepared, because we're waking up. People like Iyanla Vanzant are going to help us wake up. And once we go inside and heal and realize we are enough, I am enough, and the ego goes to the side and goes to sleep. I am enough. I am enough. Whether my daughter, son leave this planet, I'm enough, and I have an assignment that's bigger than the transitions of our adult children. Oh, I wish everybody could get that, but I know I'm the student when they don't get it. I'm just a student. And so I'm going to observe without judgment and continue to do my assignment and prepare for whoever's going to leave this planet, leave their body that's close to me. I just got an assignment, and it'll just be another funeral for me, because I'm getting used to going to funerals and just enjoying the show, basically. That's me, though. But Ralph Smart has a whole different, he has another higher perspective that I want you to take away from this evening's session about awakening, what's happening when we're awakening.
This would happen after awakening. Shout out to everybody out there who's on their awakening journey right about now, right? Or who've been on their awakening journey for a little while now. Look, right now, a lot of people are experiencing what it feels like after awakening. Wait, what? Nobody told me this would happen after awakening, deep divers. I said, wait, what? This is going to happen? The information I'm going to share with you in this video is not only going to uplift you, it's going to help you become your greatest version at the same time. Hit the like button if you support the real deep divers. Hit the like button right now if you support the real, because we got a whole lot to talk about. So nobody told me this would happen after awakening. Look, if you are watching this video right about now, this is your confirmation. Relax. The stars are already aligned for you. So many people are starting to wake up on the planet, and we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello there? Some people are just starting the journey of awakening. And some people have been on the journey for a little while, like the cat down the road deep divers. Nobody told me this would happen after awakening. A lot of you have seen me along my journey, from being in my back garden with a massive afro, beautiful afro, right? And I'm still here, looking younger, feeling younger, healthier, raising the frequency. And we're still awakening, because that's what we're here to do. But deep divers, nobody told me this would happen after awakening. After being on this journey for a little while, doing a little summer, baby. Nobody told me that this would happen after awakening, that reality would totally shift. Reality changes. Like, nothing feels real. Sometimes you pinch yourself to say, oh my gosh, I'm alive. I'm alive. Right? Sometimes it feels like you're in a Truman Show, reality TV show, right? And a lot of people always write to me about their experiences after awakening that, oh my gosh, reality totally changes. Like, there is no more normal. Everything is a mystery. Because a lot of people in this society, they walk around thinking that they know everything. Nobody told me this would happen after awakening. You realize that awakening is all about knowing how much you don't actually know. Slow motion this side. So I wake up sometimes, deep divers, like, oh my gosh, I know nothing. I'm a blank slate. And it's so empowering, humbling, liberating to realize that actually there are things you don't know. There are things you don't know. And there are things you don't know, deep divers. Nobody told me this would happen after awakening. That you realize you are also a part of the universe. Carl Sagan, who spoke about the pale blue dot, said the nitrogen in our DNA, the iron in our blood, the calcium in our teeth, the carbon in our apple pies were all made from the interior of collapsing stars. We are literally stardust. And after awakening, for me personally, deep divers, I stopped identifying just with this physical body. I started to realize that actually I'm multi-dimensional. I'm a starman. I'm a starman, deep divers, doing a little samba, baby, raising the frequency. And this changed everything. Nobody told me this would happen after awakening. That I would no longer identify just with this flesh body, but with an actual reality mindset that I am so much more than this. I am the universe experiencing itself for a brief moment in time. And it is awesome. It is awesome. Deep divers, nobody told me this would happen after awakening. You can't go back to your normal life. I tried, deep divers. It didn't work. So I had my massive awakening experience really in 2006, but then I've had one like every couple of years because the awakening experience never stops, deep divers. It keeps going on and on and on. And every couple of years you get a new awakening experience, and it's pretty awesome. Even the cat down the road has one. Look, nobody told me that once you graduate, you can't go back to kindergarten. I said, nobody told me this would happen after awakening. Once you graduate, you can't go back to kindergarten.
So I think you are getting Ralph Smart's message. I hope you're getting Ralph Smart's message that this awakening is exciting. It's really where we were meant to go. Evolution is the solution. And our number one priority after my experience as a student with my love partner, my number one priority is spiritual evolution, spiritual maturity. And the saying that I think I quoted wrong was, the mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work unless you open it. So your mind has to be open for these new experiences, but there needs to be a caution, especially with AI now, with these data centers. The more we really get into it unconsciously, the more I think it's going to shock us and bring on more fear and concern. So be careful about using AI in a way that you leave your parachute closed. You know what I mean? So the mind, open the mind to experience more loving relationships, more spiritual partnerships where we recognize the husband, the children, the friends are all souls, eternal souls having an experience just like me. So we're all one, really. We're all having this soulful experience that I hope and pray that will mature into a 5D understanding, as well as transform these relationships that we support one another. As Iyanla mentioned, having the support when your close relationships leave or go other places that surprise you. So we've got a couple of more comments here. Tomorrow, be sure and join my sister Zelda, Mandarin Culture from the Chai to Shanghai on Monday morning mindfulness. That's at 7 a.m. Central Standard, 8 Eastern. Always some amazing meditation with Zelda on a Monday morning. So be sure and join her at Higher Learning TV show. And thank you, Zelda, for that. Your presence. Your presence is much appreciated. And we have Mama AZ, Robert Paris. She says, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for us. Love you. Love you too. Mama AZ is thriving. She's been through a lot, but she's thriving every day because she's practicing spiritual hygiene. She is one woman I can say is becoming more and more aware of her internal peace that's needed. She knows she needs internal peace. And whatever situation she's in or you're in, that's what it's meant to bring us is internal peace and awareness of our emotional state that can either harm us, cause weakness, sickness, disease, or our emotional awareness and response to situations that can bring more peace, more joy, more prosperity, more abundance. I realize more and more that I have everything I need. I do not have a lot of money in the bank, but I have everything I need. And so I don't worry about money anymore. I'm just attracting it. And so, but I do this show for free. I'm always grateful for any contributions. If you want to send a donation, it helps me put tires on this new car that I've been given. Not new, it's 20 years old. But this car costs money to run now. So Cash App is $ Vieta Robinson. And I do have my ebook is available if you go to viata@hotmail.com or Cash App Viata Robinson. I'll send you the PDF from Fear to Faith and the Master Design. It's $8. Let's see. And that's the book that gives you a blueprint to prevent disease. That book is full of stories from people who confirmed German New Medicine and how your brain reacts to trauma based on your emotional intelligence or lack of. And Iyanla Vanzant's book, I would highly recommend. I'm going to download that book in a day or two and read it because she's just so inspirational. The woman is just so inspirational. So especially if you're struggling with the loss of a loved one, I would hope that you will get her book and be transformed into the soul purpose healing identity that we all need to maintain. Why am I here? Why am I here? What am I here to do? And some of us are just here to be students. If you stay in suffering or pain, then we're gonna observe without judgment and learn whatever lessons you're here to teach us. And that's what I've done for the last few years, is just learn and share and learn. Teacher, student, teacher, student. That's an interchanging role that we all play depending on the soul that comes into your life. There all the time, new souls coming and going. So thank you all for being here tonight. Let's see. I think I got all the comments. Thank you all for sharing. And everybody have a good evening. It's going to be winter time for sure in Florida. So I'm ready. My heater is on. And as I start sweating in here, my heater is so strong. So have a great evening. And whatever you do, Have a good week, and send love to every person you meet. Just interact with souls and be transformed by the appearance of souls in your life who either test you or not. But your test, your lesson is to respond with love. So to all my yogi friends, namaste, sat nam, aho to my native brothers and sisters, and to all my synchronistic human family. I say, ashe, ashe, o, ashe, o. Shalom. Love you. Have a good week.